The ending of Superman sets up a lot for the DCU, so let's talk about it all. Now, obviously this video is gonna have a ton of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, swipe away. Let's start with the big one. We see Supergirl. At the end of the movie, we see Supergirl flying into the Fortress of Solitude, coming to retrieve her dog, Crypto. And she is rocking a super comic accurate look. Millie Alcock looks amazing as Supergirl. 10 out of 10 casting. She was great in the Game of Thrones spinoff. And I've seen a lot of negativity about her personality in this scene, her being a sort of drunk, goofy person, but this makes a lot of sense for the sequel that it's setting up, or rather spinoff, as the next DCU movie is going to be called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is based off the comic of the same name. And in a similar way that Clark talks about in the movie, in the book, on her 21st birthday, Supergirl goes to a planet with a red sun so that she can get drunk and party. But things don't go their way, and she gets pulled in someone else's quest for revenge, and she goes on this huge sci-fi space odyssey. And it's a very epic and actually deeply emotional story, as it explores who Kara is and her grief and trauma, figuring out where her place is in this universe. Because while Superman is very much also from Earth and loves the planet and its people, Kara doesn't have that connection. She grew up on Krypton and has way more grief than Clark does in that regard. She knew and grew up with a ton of people, and she wasn't raised on Earth, so she doesn't have that deep connection to the planet, even though she's considered Supergirl. It's an amazing story and probably one of the best comics I've ever read, and I highly recommend checking it out. But the movie sets up a lot of less obvious things as well. After Lex Luthor is beaten, we see that he's being taken to Bel Rev Penitentiary, which if you don't know is another sort of Arkham Asylum type prison in the DC universe, and is very deeply connected to the Creature Commandos and the Suicide Squad. And with season 2 of Creature Commandos being officially greenlit and in the works, it's possible Lex Luthor could be on that team or make a cameo appearance in the show. He could lend his technology, his brains, or some of his money to the team in order to reduce his prison time or just get out of prison. Or who knows, maybe he could make some friends in Bel Rev Penitentiary and meet some other people who hate metahumans and form the Legion of Doom, which we do know that DC's plan is to slowly build up the Justice League, culminating in a huge crossover movie. And speaking of superhero teams, the Justice Gang gets a brand new member. Metamorpho, or the Element Man, joins the gang. Now this could just be more about the Justice Gang being fleshed out or showing their transition into the Justice League, but there is a fairly new superhero team called the Terrifics, consisting of both Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho. They're a fairly new team spinning out of Dark Knight's Metal, the comic story that got us the Batman Who Laughs and Red Death, two huge fan favorite characters, and they're a sort of Fantastic Four kind of group consisting of a bunch of fan favorite B-list characters, also including Plastic Man and Phantom Girl. So it could be that the Justice Gang gets disbanded, leading Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman to form the Justice League, and the Justice Gang could disband, having Guy and Hawkgirl do their own thing, and Mr. Terrific could form the Terrifics. And speaking of Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner, the movie also does set up Peacemaker season 2, as we know both those characters are appearing in the show, and one of the government people also mentions that, oh, now the metahumans are in charge, and the camera focuses on Rick Flag Sr., who we know is going to be one of the main antagonists in Peacemaker season 2, as he is going to be hunting down Peacemaker for killing his son in the Suicide Squad. And the last one might be a stretch. At the end of the movie, after the reveal that Ultraman is a clone of Superman, we see that he is sucked into a black hole and seemingly dies. And while not confirmed, I think this could be a setup for Bizarro or Doomsday. And honestly, I'm hoping for Bizarro. In the movie, Lex does say this is not a perfect Superman clone. He might be stronger, but he is much more dumb. And in the movie, he seemingly doesn't really have much of a personality and sort of a drone, but we do get a couple of little comedic moments, which are very in line with Bizarro's personality. Knowing James Gunn, I could see him making a very endearing story, where this seemingly mindless character goes on a journey of discovering, figuring out who they are, and even possible redemption. If anyone could pull off making Bizarro an emotional and deeply fan favorite character, it would be James Gunn. And the other possibility is Doomsday, and I'm honestly hoping this doesn't happen, because we'd pretty much be rehashing Batman v Superman and Superman and Lois, where in both those stories, either a variant of Superman or a different Kryptonian, aka General Zod, gets turned into a Doomsday. I don't like this. I think it's been done too many times and too frequently and too recently, but I do think it's possible. This black hole could be in the negative zone, and Ultraman's suit does look very similar to the containment suit of Doomsday, but I'm a super huge comic nerd. If we're gonna do Doomsday, which I don't even think we need yet for a long time, just do a fun comic accurate Doomsday or do something completely fresh. But those are all the spin-offs, possible characters, and possible directions that the DCU could be going in now. What do you think of my theories, and what theories do you have for the future of the DCU? Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.